In the real world, if you really want to live in a country abroad, you really want to communicate with people, all 4 skills are valued in the society: in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Our mission is basically to contribute to a more bilingual, a more multicultural, multilingual world, and we work directly with teachers and schools in order to make that happen. We do this not necessarily by being a language learning company. We complement the language learning process by assessing where they're at and providing valuable information in terms of their level of where they're at, and if corrections are needed, they can use that information in order to make better decisions about their program. In our system, everybody who takes the STAMP test, the score is stored in our system. Teachers can access their student scores, see the reading, writing, listening, and speaking scores for each one of their students. They can run averages for each one of the skills, see the averages by grade to make sure that as students move up in a program, their STAMP level is improving, their ability in the foreign language is improving. We also offer a custom data analysis here at Avant, where we use other types of software that make data visualization easier for teachers, and it allows them to see patterns that perhaps they wouldn't be able to see if they don't have that background in data. Linear tests are tests where no matter who's taking the test, they're going to see exactly the same question. It means that a test may have from question 1 to 30, and whether you are extremely proficient or whether you have a very low proficiency level, everybody will see exactly the same 30 questions. This is not the approach that we use at Avant. We use something better, which is called adaptive algorithms. Basically, everybody starts by taking a smaller number of items in the beginning of the test, which are the same for everybody, but depending on their response, if they get these items correct or incorrect, we're going to start showing items that are more aligned with their proficiency level. And by doing this, we're better able to zoom in on their actual proficiency, because the moment they start making mistakes, that's exactly the spot where their proficiency is. The STAMP test is developed based on the STAMP scale, but the STAMP scale maps perfectly to the ACTFL scale. The ACTFL standards were created to serve as a tool, a common language that teachers of foreign languages in the United States, started here, can use in order to help students move from one level to the next. It clarifies exactly the kinds of abilities and things that the students should be able to do in terms of skills and the types of text they should be able to interact with at each one of the given levels of what's called the ACTFL proficiency scale. So a STAMP level of 1 indicates an ACTFL level of novice low. A STAMP level of 2, an ACTFL level of novice mid. So on the STAMP test, reading and listening, the receptive skills, they are tested through multiple choice items. And multiple choice items have been shown to be very reliable for measuring proficiency. And in the writing and the speaking part of the test, we have prompts, little scenarios, little snippets of real-world communication scenarios that they have to either write about or talk about. And we have 3 of those. We have 3 writing prompts and we have 3 speaking prompts. And they tap into very different constructs, right? You may have a better ability in the receptive skills because you don't have to generate language, and usually that's the case. People have better receptive skills than productive skills. A score is a score and it has a meaning, but if you don't use it, if you just take the test and you don't look at it, it's not being used for something that can improve outcomes. So our professional development team helps teachers and programs look at the STAMP scores and identify patterns in what's going on and make interventions, perhaps start discussing what kinds of interventions can be made in order to help them improve the quality of the program and make sure that the students are getting to the point that the program wants them to be at a certain level. We have a tool called ADVANCE, which is a tool that we've decided to make available to the public. Different schools and districts, they can have their teachers be trained using the same methodology we train our raters, and that helps to reduce bias, for example, in the classroom, because if you have different teachers teaching the same level, let's say a grade 4 at a given school, and one teacher happens to be more lenient than the other, it's not fair for a student to receive a certain score just because they happen to be studying with this teacher versus the other one. So it's a matter of fairness. By using ADVANCE, we make sure that everybody who goes through the system has been calibrated and is free of bias. They are rating the writing responses and the speaking responses to the correct level. And our aim is always to provide a benefit back to the person taking our assessment so they can act on that information The world is becoming more multicultural every single day. More than ever before, you go out in the street and you find people who speak a different language, who speak a different dialect, who come from a different culture. So nowadays, employers as well, they're saying that being bilingual is a very important skill in the workplace, because these companies are expanding to other countries, and having people who understand not only the language, but also the culture, those two things are so connected, allows these companies to better reach their markets, to give to the market what the market is asking for. Just in terms of experiencing life, you are a more complete human, and when you learn a second language, you might actually discover things about yourself that you wouldn't have discovered otherwise.